Hey everyone, Tiago with Classical Controllers here, where I review and talk about controllers. Today, let's talk about one of the biggest issues that affects controllers for most people, and that's going to be stick drift. Now, I'm going to tell you the top PlayStation 5 controllers that are OEM PlayStation 5, but from, companies that modify them that offer either Hall effects or TMR, some type of, magnetic thumbstick to be able to get away from that idea of stick drift in traditional potentiometers. And this happens in any controller, not just PlayStation or Xbox, but those with TMR or Hall effect sticks certainly do fare a lot better. But thankfully, if you still want like an OEM original feeling PlayStation 5 controller, for example, there are companies that will add it aside from smaller modders and things like that. These are some of the ones that I've tried. I'm going to give you guys my opinion on it, let you know what I think. So the first one is going to be the one that introduced it the most recently. That's going to be Battle Beaver. They actually have their Magneto Mechs, as they call it. It's like a TMR, which is going to be a little bit different than Hall effects. Depending on exactly which Hall effects or and which TMR module that you're using, which one is better is going to vary, but obviously TMR is the newer technology. It's more power efficient. It may be more accurate. So the best TMR on the market now is certainly going to be the best one, period, from the likes of like Gully Kit and things like that. And then Hall effects can still be, of course, very, very good as well. If it's a good module, it's just going to be a little bit different. So Battle Beaver has TMR and they have their, Magneto mechs. And I've actually ordered a controller with this that I did a review on the channel. And, it feels great. I mean, it doesn't feel too much different than a controller that has a potentiometer that's working really well. I also got the Smart Click for that. I should have gotten it just regular because then, it's hard to tell exactly what differences the Smart Click and what the original Magneto mech would have felt like. But overall, it feels pretty good. You do have to get used to TMR and Hall effect sticks, especially if you play like FPS games. Sometimes they're more sensitive, so it's not what you've been used to. So some people may have some type of adjustment curve, but Battle Beaver is a company that offers them, and they offer them across the line on their PlayStation 5 controller, Xbox, as well as their PlayStation 4 controller as well. Recently, I haven't received it yet, but I did order a PlayStation 4 with their TMR. I'm very curious to see, and I didn't do the Smart Click this time because I wanted to see what the actual TMR feels like in terms of the clickiness and just its responsiveness without their Smart Click feature. Definitely report when I get that one in there, but that's pretty interesting. They're a little late to the game, but it seems like their implementation is pretty good. Obviously, they're going to be a little bit more expensive in general than the competition. I think it's around $36 to actually add the TMR, but the overall cost of the controllers are often a bit higher. That's just kind of goes with the territory. Custom controllers do add up. So the next controller company that we're going to talk about that does offer, in this case, it's going to be Hall Effects. That's going to be AIM controllers. And actually, recently, I did partner with AIM controllers. They sent me a controller to review. I've bought many controllers from them before, including ones with Hall Effects. They've had it on the market for longer than Battle Beaver has had TMR, for example. And the Hall effects definitely bring a lot of peace of mind because it's not gonna get stick drift, or at least the possibility is extremely low. And I just love the way they click. Also, I know this isn't going to be a primary concern for a lot of people. They just want to get rid of stick drift and maybe have a more accurate thumbstick. But the clicky, like when you go L3 and R3, like to run or something, when you do one of these compared to the original PlayStation 5 controller, which is okay, the Hall effects just sound so good. I mean, they definitely have a clickiness factor, if you will. So AIM Controllers offers it, but only on the PlayStation 5 controller. I haven't seen that they offer it on their PlayStation 4 or Xbox controllers like Battle Beaver does with TMR. So it's still much better than at least not having anything. So if you're going to get a PlayStation 5 controller, definitely recommend the Hall effects. And remember, you can calibrate these as well. The DualSense has a great browser app, if you want to call it, or software where you can calibrate the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 For Xbox, you're going to have to go into the Xbox app for the Series X, and then the older Xbox One, you can't really calibrate it with software. But for PlayStation 5 controllers, you can calibrate it. So then you can tune it. If you don't like the factory tuning that they have, you can tune it whichever way you want. And this is going to be for any of the different makes and custom builders that sort of do these controllers. So AIM is really going to be by far one of my favorites because I think price wise it comes in cheaper than some of the other options. Like for example, and I do have a code, an affiliate link. So just to be transparent, this one is like $189 with all of the features. So Hall effects and every single feature, the sale that they're running right now, it may not be that because they're having an 11th anniversary. So classical is the code. Just put code classical. I'll leave the affiliate link down below. And even though they sent me a controller to review, I bought another one because it's so good for that price. Like it's literally a $400 controller for $189. And if you price the different companies, that have Hall effects and things like that. 189 is an absolute steal of a price because this also has clicky bumpers and triggers. Their aim, Spider V3 action paddles, which I consider the best paddles, period. They're super tactile. They're the best like back button or paddle system that I've tried on any controller. That's why I bought so many previously. So that's going to be a huge factor, at least for the sale. They always have some type of sale going on. And, Battle Beaver also does discounts, and Hypr and the other, Cinch. All of these companies do discounts. But this one is really, really good because you get it for 189 plus like shipping and tax. So like low 200s, you get pretty much every feature you can put in a controller, including digital face buttons as well. So it ends up much cheaper than some of the competition. So those are the AIM controllers. The next one that I've tried and I do like as well, that's going to be from Cinch Gaming. I've tried a few of their quick ships or their 24-hour ships as they had it. This is going to be the PlayStation 5, and I also did try a PlayStation 4. They'll have different versions, but they do offer Hall effect sticks, just like AIM as well. And usually they'll have 20% off or something, sometimes 25% off. So their controllers are, it's priced fair, I would say, in the market. And these are going to be sort of like almost pre-built. They're going to have two back buttons. They're going to have, the mouse click bumpers and triggers. Sometimes they'll have some type of custom shell. And then, of course, the Hall effects if you get that option. And it ends up often, around the $200 mark, maybe a little more, a little less, depending on the sale. You don't get as many features as the AIM controller. The AIM controller, in my opinion, has much higher build quality with the back paddles and just the face plates. They have more variety. And you're getting a custom controller for that price. This is the pre-built Cinch. You can also do a custom Cinch, but it's probably going to be a more expensive as well. I haven't ordered any of the custom ones, just the pre-builts and the 24-hour ones, which overall have been pretty good. They're put together very well, and they have the Hall effects, which is going to be a big thing for stick drift and things like that. And then next, we're going to have the Hypr controller. This one is very interesting as well because this is the only one that I've seen, at least from some of these bigger companies. They offer a variety of the different, TMR, for example, that you can put in. I recently ordered a PlayStation 5 one. They actually even did a little video on Instagram of my exact controller, which was pretty cool. This one I got the Gully Kit TMR, which of course is the best one on the market. It's just the most responsive, the most efficient, everything. It's really, really good. So I decided to get that, which is the most expensive one as well. But they also offer the other, K Silver, for example, the Genful, Hall Pie. These are all, similar to the Gully Kit, maybe not quite as good. The Hall Pie is probably the same sensor. It's just packaged a little bit differently. And the other ones are all close, and these are all TMR. They do offer that. I also have Hall effects from Hypr as well on the PlayStation 4 controller. That wasn't a custom one. It was one of their pre-built sort of quick ships, just like Cinch. So overall, Very good to have that option and have the flexibility of being able to choose which TMR that you want. It may almost be too much information, I think, for a lot of buyers if you're not into the different sticks. Like it took me a while to get into the different TMR ones and learn. I learned how to do it myself, so I have an idea of what's a good TMR stick, what's a good Hall effect stick. So some people may just want to know, like, all right, it comes with Hall effects or it comes with TMR. And a lot of people don't even know about TMR yet. Hall effects is definitely the bigger, like, buzzword, if you will. So sometimes a lot of people will put in parentheses in a description, like, it has TMR, which is the better version of Hall effects. But then there's a caveat where some Hall effects could be better than a TMR that's not too good. So it depends on which one you have. It's kind of complicated, but at least having it, people feel better than potentiometers. So nothing. There's nothing wrong with potentiometers aside from stick drift once in a while, and on some controllers. I mean, pro gamers have been using those controllers. I mean, a lot of people still play on PlayStation 4 controllers with potentiometers, and they win tournaments. So there's nothing really performance-wise that's holding people back. Maybe just the long-term durability and longevity is better on TMR and Hall effects. Uh, and then we also have, another controller that's actually very, very popular. That's a PlayStation 5 controller. And that's going to be the Hex Gaming Phantom. Now, I bought this when it came out with their Hall effect sticks. And a lot of people really, really like this controller. Just like the AIM controller, it's Hall effects, and it also has the adjustable trigger system, which is really cool. AIM and the Hex Gaming for the Phantom all have that in the back. You just click the little button, and then your triggers are either clicky or you can have the full pull if you want to play a PlayStation 5 exclusive game or something like that, like Ratchet and Clank, where you may make more use of the full trigger. And then you want to play an FPS game like Call of Duty, you just switch it back to the mouse click triggers. So that's a really cool option. Usually this controller is around $250, which is, I guess, a little bit pricey for a pre-built. And it's usually a good value, I guess, but prices have been going down in some cases. And then once again, sometimes I rather have a more custom controller for that price. Like for $250, I mean, that AIM controller that I got, you can get it now for like, $189 plus shipping and tax. It's like low 200s, $212, I think it comes out to. And that controller has everything that this one has and even more, like clicky buttons, face buttons. The bumpers are clicky. On the Phantom, the bumpers are regular. You only get the triggers that are clicky, and the face buttons are standard PlayStation face buttons. You do get 4 back buttons, like some of the other controllers, like the AIM controller. You get the 4 paddles, and these 4 back buttons on the Phantom are very good. They're mouse click, so I definitely do like them as well. And you're more limited with the design choices, like in terms of the pre-built for the Phantom. You have stuff like blue, black. There's like a transparent one, a gray. They look good. They definitely look good, but they're not cheap. They're well over $200, $250 for the Hall effects version. So these are some of the main ones on the market. There are more, of course, other companies that do offer, Hall effects. Smaller builders offer TMR, but that's something that's making their way into the PlayStation 5 controller, especially since that's the most popular one right now. And you see the different companies offer it on PlayStation 4 and Xbox in many cases. So these are the companies that I've actually tried the sticks from, and it's like it's another performance feature that you add that makes a difference. Not only potentially with performance in some cases after you get used to it. Some people have reported that some of these better sticks you can be a little more accurate. So it's going to depend on what you're playing, but most importantly is that durability. It's going to last a lot longer than a potentiometer, especially TMR and the Hall effects. It's just going to be a better investment on your controller. From what I've seen, a lot of people get rid of their controller precisely because of stick drift. I mean, you can buy a brand new PlayStation 4 controller today. So if somebody gets rid of theirs, it doesn't mean the controller is outdated, because you can use it on PC, on the PlayStation 4, obviously, that a lot of people bought. The reason that most people get rid of it is because of the stick drift. So if you have one that you buy now, like a custom one that has Hall effect or TMR, in the future, that controller is going to last a lot longer. And you know how video games work now. Even stuff from 20 years ago is still cool today. You have collectors, you have a lot of people. So imagine one of these controllers in 20 years. Even though there's going to be a PlayStation 8 or whatever by then, It's going to be really cool because they're going to have Hall effects and TMR. Most likely, they're still going to be just like the day you got them because they're not potentiometers. You're not going to have to replace them. And these are just the ones that I've actually bought and tried. And they're basically all really good quality. It's going to come down to if you like paddles more, if you like buttons more, the pricing. I'm going to leave some of the links down below. Like I mentioned, at least for now, the best deal is definitely the AIM controller because of the 11th anniversary discount. Like $189 is pretty crazy for like Hall effects and every feature you can get on the controller, like clicky face button, clicky D-pad, clicky trigger, bumper. In the adjustable trigger, while some of the other companies offer it, it's going to be at a higher price. And the adjustable trigger, the Phantom Gaming is the only other one that actually offers that. The other ones are either clicky or not clicky, so you have to have two controllers. So very, very interesting that all of these companies are definitely pushing the Hall effects and everything else. TMR, we'll probably end up seeing TMR come out more on these controllers as time goes on, as that seems to be the next step sort of in the evolution. All right, guys, so let me know what you think down below. Do you want your controller to have some type of Hall effects or TMR? Are you getting stick drift? What do you think? Let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next video.